This is how I convert a photo into a cuttable image for Cricut Design Space using a few different apps: Background Eraser, Engine, Adobe Capture, and Cricut Design Space. First, we're going to open Background Eraser. I'm going to go into My Photos. I'm going to choose a subject. Usually go in, I'll crop the excess background out so I have that much less that I have to erase. Then there's some little tool settings at the bottom of your screen. Under Erase, you can minimize the width and then maximize your offset. I minimize the width so that I have better control moving around the smallest details of my subject, and I maximize the offset because that allows me to see what I'm doing so that my finger isn't ever in the way. So as I go around, I take my time. I'm very careful about following the natural contours of the outline. One of the reasons that I always minimize my width is because I see a lot of people that leave their eraser too big, they're trying to go too fast, and you end up with a real kind of jagged line around the outline. It doesn't look as natural. You end up with kind of a lot of concave little indentations, I guess you'd call it. So I just very carefully go around. When I get up into a tight little nook like that one, I will go right over. You saw I went over his white area right there. I'm going to hit the Restore button at the bottom of my screen, and that's going to let me restore that area, give me that area back so I don't lose it. I use that to restore quite a bit. It makes it really easy to get into the smaller areas and not lose any of the details. Continue to go around really carefully, getting all the details. You'll see as I get up into the crooks of his legs here, I'll use that Restore tool again. And then, of course, once I've gone all the way around the outline, I go in and I'll maximize the width of the eraser so that I can erase all the extra stuff pretty quickly, which you'll see me do. I'm going to kind of let the screen, or the recording, I guess, fast forward a little bit so you don't have to watch the outline of the whole dog. And while it's kind of showing you what I do, I'm going to mention at the end of this, you have the option to save a couple different ways. There's a transparent PNG, which is really tempting because you think, oh, it's transparent. It's going to give you problems when you take this image into Engine, because when you take it into another app, it's going to give you a black background, which can be really problematic when you go to weed your final project. If you take away that black background, all of a sudden you've lost your outline to everything. You don't want to do that. So make sure you save it as with a white background. Okay, hopefully I'm not diving in too deep, but if your subject is mostly white or it has a predominant white area in it, like a wedding gown, and you're afraid that giving it a white background is not going to give you a nice outline of your white shape, I would encourage you to save this as a transparent PNG, take it into a superimpose app, give yourself a pale pink background or a baby blue background, and then take that image into Engine or Adobe Capture, because then you'll be sure to have a good outline on your white portion of the image. Okay, so here it's being saved as a white JPEG. We're going to close it out. We're going to open it in Engine. Once we get into Engine, I generally will use the ink filter. It's going to give you the most black patches, or if you have, like my dog here has, some black spots. I want those black spots to be solid and not just outlines. So usually ink's going to be the best one for that. I almost always slide the freckles, the very bottom bar, all the way to the left. Sometimes those freckles are important though if you want to just pick up a little glimmer in an eyeball, or maybe it'll capture a feature on the nose that you need so you can really see it's a good nose. But otherwise it's just a matter of kind of sliding around the little toggles at the bottom to see what you like the best. The other screen filter I will use once in a while is Amorpho. Just be sure to set the morphing to 0. Next, you're going to see me open up a little pop-up box. Very top of the screen where it says Editor. That's what you're going to tap to open that. You're going to want to slide the top one all the way to the far right. It's going to make it really black. That bottom one you're going to want to tap and hit the trash can. That's what's going to make your background transparent. And then this, you can see I'm going to save this as a number 2 PNG. If you save it as anything higher than that, it won't open into Cricut Design Space Ready to Go. But a PNG number 2, as you can see here, will open right into Design Space from your camera roll, ready to go. Otherwise, you can save it. You can make it a SVG, and you can save it in your iPhone files, and you can browse from files and pull it in that way. Okay, last but not least is going to be Adobe Capture. I'm going to pull in the same image from my camera roll that I created earlier using background eraser. Once I've done that, there's going to be a sliding scale at the bottom of the screen that I will slide left to right until I like the image. You can see me doing that. Top left up there, there's a little icon that you could swap your black and white if you ever wanted to do that. Over here at the top right, you can see I selected smooth and I turned smoothing on. You can see it going to town there, smoothing out a lot of those little speckles, which is going to make cutting and weeding a little bit easier when it comes time to do that. Once it is done smoothing, I will actually save this image, and then I will choose to export it as an SVG to files on my phone. If you get into the files on your phone and you see that you don't have a folder, the easiest way to get one is to download the app called Pages. It was made to be a native app for iPhone and iPad users by Apple. Once you go into Cricut Design Space, you will choose Upload, Browse Files, and then select that shape that you just saved and created. And then I'll show you from here, once this gets saved, how I can bring it into my project, and you can see the two then that I've done with Image Engine and now Adobe Capture kind of side by side. One definitely shows more details than the other, but that same one is also generally a little more difficult to cut just because it's got a lot more speckles rather than lines. I sincerely hope this video helps.